Hey guys, welcome to Recovery Coaching Wellness. I hope you guys are doing well today, wherever you are. And today I want to speak about, this is very particular for people who, I should say I'm a recovery coach, and I'm also in University for Addictions Counseling. So if anyone would like to book a session with me, for any reason, it doesn't have to be just addiction. It can be trauma, it can be addictions to many different things. And I just want you to know first that that I'm not a counselor, but I can discuss many things with you, but I can't counsel you. I guide you, because that's what a coach does, right? Yeah, what I want to touch on today is for people who have made it past the point of, they're in the maintenance stage. You're not using whatever substance it is, whether alcohol or drugs, which one, it doesn't matter. And you feel, what do I do? What do I do? How do I fill my time? This is really strange. I feel like I have nothing to do, and this isn't really about. This is about what I've done in my life to show you guys that there are possibilities of things. There's so many things you can do, and my story is a little different than most people because I suffer with very severe pain. I suffer with intractable pain, so when you see me moving back and forth like this, that's a spinal condition I have that causes a lot of pain in my legs, so that's why I'm moving back and forth. So with those pains and stuff like that, I don't get out as much as someone regularly would, right? Like if you're out working like 8 hours a day type thing, and I can understand that you're gonna face many triggers, right? And you're gonna have to learn what to do and to stay away from those things, because that's the smartest thing you can do. But you're gonna have to come up with something. You're gonna have to come up with, and I say this and I'll repeat this as in my other videos, you're gonna have to develop a level of discipline. And I promise you that discipline, as hard as that may sound for you to do, what do I have discipline around? Well, do you want to live a life where, you wake up in the morning and despite whatever it is you're suffering from, trauma, anxiety, panic, whatever it is, because a lot of people who abuse substances tend to have mental conditions and also neurodevelopmental conditions, and so what do I do? What are the first things that I do? And so I just want to share very quickly. Well, I don't know if it'd be very quickly. It's kind of hard to explain, but I'll do my best. I won't give an overall of my whole story, but so I spent a lot of my life drinking alcohol to cover up trauma, to cover up things that happened in my life, to bury social anxiety, to bury those traumatic situations that I had gone through. And it just became a horrible cycle, and it was no different with drugs too. I was doing the same thing. Pardon me, I gotta gather my breath for a second. Just give me a second. It's my esophagus. I have a disorder in there, so it's like spasms. So yes, I abused drugs. I did those types of things. I drank, but when I got pain, I realized something and who knows, maybe I'm speaking to someone with suffers with pain. But whether or not you suffer with pain, it's still applied the same way. What do I do in my life? I just realized my pain actually saved my life, because I realized I had to develop discipline, because the things that I were doing were ruining my life. So I'll give you, for instance, let's just start here, and you're going to be like, how do I begin this? And you just begin with a small step. You've heard of SMART recovery, right? Specific, I forget it right offhand, measurable, small measurable goals, small measurable things that you can do. Because if you begin your journey, say you've made your way away from smoking marijuana, you're like 2 weeks, whatever it is, and you no longer feel like you need that, and alcohol, or even if you're still having that, that sense is going to stay with you for a while, that you still want to use those things, because those are your go-to things, right? When you get in trouble, or when you pass by somewhere like a trigger. I want you to stay healthy. And I think staying healthy physically is very important. There are many, one trigger is not having sleep, right? When you don't have sleep, you feel so awful, and it makes everything you go through so much worse. So what I do every single night, not fail, is I go to bed at the same time. You're going to say, well, I don't want to do that. I want to watch a movie, or I want to do this. Hey, if you're off by an hour or something, whatever, but I'm telling you, at 46 years of age, I've been through all those things, trying to stay up all night, and I've done that quite a few times, and it doesn't leave you feeling well, and it perpetuates other things. So develop a good sleep routine. You're going to say, well, I can't sleep. Well, those are other issues that, if bad enough, speak to your doctor. And I'm not advocating medications, but I'd rather you do it in a holistic way first, a healthy way. So for instance, so I said I would talk about my own life. It's much easier for me to explain to you how I'm successful in my life, because I have discipline, and it all begins with sleep. I go to bed at the same time, and I wake up at the same time. I make sure to get at least 6.5 hours of sleep. It should be between 6 and 8 hours, and I understand some people can't do that, and I know you might wake up and all that type of stuff too. So back to my life. The more that you're thinking about the hard things of the day, it makes it tougher for you to sleep, right? Because you're worried about so many different things. So I go on a walk twice a day, every single day. And you say, well, that sounds excessive, but as human beings, we're meant to walk. I believe that we were designed that way, not to sit in our computers and our devices and all that type of stuff. I think many would agree with me. That's one of the reasons society has gotten to the way it is, with diseases and all types of heart disease and all that. So I'm just going to get into my life. So that's what I do. I wake up at the same time every day, and those very stressful things that can be in my life, those walks that I take, so I take 2 walks per day. Why? Well, because I suffer with a lot of pain, and it's really stressful because I have a lot of abdominal pain too. That staying in this camera, I'm telling you, is much harder than I'm going to ever tell you, because of the abdominal pain. So when I'm done everything I got to do here, I go out for a walk. Like I said, I volunteer today. I'm going to walk there. And by the time I get there, so about 10 to 15 minutes into walking, say you're going on a brisk walk, you're going to develop endorphins. They found those in the 1980s. The first time they found them was in the 1980s, endorphins. They didn't know they existed. We knew that it made you feel good when you exercise, but when you walk, they develop after about 10 to 20 minutes. And I ride those endorphins out to help my pain and to help things in my mind that may be stressing me out. You start walking, you start realizing, you start releasing, right? I don't mean running either. I just mean going for a good walk. You know, that helps me do chores in my home. It helps me do a lot of different things. And I keep to this. I can't always go for 2 walks because like I like to go out on my motorcycle but I make sure that wherever I am, I'm moving around and doing that. So exercise, sleep and exercise, these are the basic things of life, right? And I know a lot of you guys aren't going to be able to avoid triggers and stuff, and you're going to say that, you know, you feel so tired you can't even walk. And by walking, do you know if you go for a walk, I think it's something like 3 or 4 hours before bed, it's going to help you with your sleep. It's going to help you with all those different things. Pardon me for a second. Now, I don't know what you believe in. I don't know if you're an atheist. I don't know if you're a Christian. I don't know if you're within Islam. I don't know. Personally, I'm Christian. I read the Bible. I study the Bible, and I find a lot of hope in that. And I mean, you know, it's something to fall back on. Of course, I put that first in my life, but it's good to have something to believe in, don't you think? And I'm not going to push this on anyone, and I never do. But so I'm speaking about my life. I couldn't do without it because I believe in God and I know He's with me. And so whatever troubles I go through, I know He's there. So there, open up a book, read, start doing whatever it is, your daily affirmations, those types of things. And you know what? When I wake up in the morning, I open up to the Bible immediately. I have university too. I may read half an hour of the Bible, then half an hour start getting into my work. But it's about developing a routine and developing discipline. These things are just so, wake up and make your bed, right? You've heard that before. And there's a reason for that. So you might ask, if you have so much pain, how are you able to do all these things? Well, it was through discipline and getting my sleep in God. You know, I go through things every day just like you do. You know, there's things in life, not just addiction, it could be women, you know, women you see, it could be all these things, and I'm very careful about what I do, not to get drawn into things, you know. Not that there's anything wrong with, but let's talk about the next one. Pardon me a sec. I have to move out of the picture because of my abdominal pain. Another reason I have to be very disciplined is because of this abdominal pain. I have quite a few disorders of the abdomen, unfortunately, and that causes me to be very disciplined. So let's talk about the next one in my life, food. As you can see, I lost a lot of weight. I lost about 70 pounds, and that was because of an abdominal pain disorder, and I was limited to my foods, and it was horrible, right? I could no longer eat lactose and gluten and all that type of stuff. It's like, what can I eat, right? But I found a way. Make sure to get my protein, make sure to get my fruits. So what am I doing here? Right now I got a bowl of oatmeal and blueberries. I have oranges, I'm eating egg whites. At night I eat fish and vegetables and that type of stuff. And there's another thing. Your food. So important, because I believe food will cause someone to relapse. That's one reason. And if you're, if your problem with addiction is stuff like food addiction and stuff, when you look at the stats right now, and don't take me for being too specific, but in North America, due to big food, due to all the preservatives, all the refined sugars, I believe it's like 40% of children under the age of 15 or something like that have pre-diabetes. And that's don't put yourself in that position where you're and it's because you're eating the wrong foods. Make sure you're drinking lots of water throughout the day to keep yourself awake. So with these abdominal disorders, I got to drink a lot of water throughout the day. This is a smart idea to do that, because you can find yourself in pain in your legs and that, not getting enough liquid. So fruits, proteins, although I'm very limited, I tried very hard. I made my way through all the foods, and I had to go to FODMAP. Even that didn't work. It's like a menu of things that you can choose to not cause distress in your abdomen. And so I found fish that I could eat every single day. Haddock. The fruits, oranges and blueberries and oatmeal and egg whites and rice. Good rice, give good energy, and vegetables and greens. And I also eat grapes as well. Very limited in my foods, but very healthy. Pardon me, guys. I have a throat disorder in my esophagus. So there it is. So let me put that together very quickly. A lot of this you can do before you even get out your front door. And I understand it's easy for people to get dragged into social media right when they wake up. I used to be that way, and after I learned how destructive it is, like Facebook and all those things, that's up to you what you want to do, but they're very addictive as well. And after I read that, and experiments, real tests revealed that a line of cocaine, the number of units of dopamine that you get from that in your brain is the same amount that when you're on Facebook and someone gives you a like, you get that same rush in your head. People are addicted and don't even know it. So I had to cut that out. So I wake up, I read scripture, I do my schooling while I'm eating healthy foods after a good sleep, right? There's a discipline all right there. And then when I leave my home, I'll go on a walk to wherever I'm going. I make sure to get in that walk to ride my endorphins. These are really good tools that you can use in your life. And they're not the only things either, I also do a workout every morning. I do push-ups and dips and just like a full body workout that someone should do. when they're in their mid-40s. So I'm in my mid-40s. That's about all I'm going to tell you about this. I wanted to share with you the type of life that you can have, and maybe that's not the life you want to have, but I want to give you an example of how you can be successful. Pardon me a second, again. Don't judge me by my pain and that I have to get out of the picture because of my abdominal pain. I believe I can be effective in your recovery, whatever it is you have. I don't care what it is. Addiction, trauma, sexual addiction, porn, internet addiction, gambling. A lot of these things I went through in my life. And I think it'd be wise to try to develop some type of coaching plan in a non-judgmental space, right? So if you have trauma, don't worry. I understand, and it's safe with me. I don't share your information. I'm in a private place, and and I do my best for the people I deal with. So if that interests you, if you would like to develop some type of plan, if you'd like to develop a plan to avoid triggers in your life, to figure out whatever barriers you're facing in your life. But this video in particular, were for people, what this video was geared towards, were people who were just coming out of the fog of withdrawal. And here you are, you're standing here, and you don't know what to do. And if this person's a trigger, I'm in a bad environment, whatever it is, I can help you with it. Let's talk. So I'll leave my I'll leave my website in the description box. And yes, I can work on a sliding scale if you can't afford it, because I understand things are very expensive these days. But if this interests you, please let me know. So I'll leave my description. Please contact me on my site, preferably by my email. Thank you.